Hello, everyone, and welcome to Civic Platform. This is your host, Zuher Almusre. Winnipeg children face a lot of challenges, and one of the charities it calls Variety, the Children's Charity of Manitoba. This organization trying through its programs to help our children a lot and past their challenges. They offer a lot of programs for mental health and some summer camps during the year to help the parents to have a healthy children and don't have any a hard time with their kids. So let's find out this organization, what's offer for our kids in Winnipeg in this new episode from Civic Platform. Hello, Jeff. How are you today?
I'm excellent. How about you, Zuher?
I'm very well. Thank you very much to join our show, Civic Platform. I know you are super busy, but thank you to make for us a room in your schedule. Thank you very much. So to start with you, Jeff, can you introduce yourself? Who are you and what are you doing?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, a big thank you to you for having me. So my name is Jeff Liba, and I sort of have what I describe as the best job in the world. I get to be the Chief Executive Officer of Variety, the Children's Charity of Manitoba.
Mm-hmm.
Our organization has existed in Manitoba since 1978. We actually are affiliated with other locations around the world as well. So in Manitoba, we're one of the oldest children's charities around, and our focus is really giving kids that are either living with special needs, so a permanent disability, or kids who are unfortunately in economically disadvantaged opportunities, things that are going to help them progress and so that they have the same opportunity to grow and learn like all the other kids around them.
I see. So, how if I have children, how I can register to your organization, how I can be part from it? There is any specific requirements I have to be, or you can clarify it more?
Yeah, so Variety has three programs, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
And how you would interact with those programs is slightly different. So we have our special needs program, and that's where families come to us and they're looking for maybe a piece of medical equipment or mobility equipment or some type of specialized service for their child.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, you apply to the program. And so varietymanitoba.com. So VARIETY and then Manitoba spelled out.com. And there's an apply now button. It's a fairly simple application process. We just ask for a bit of information about you and your family. And so, one of the things that you need to have some form of formal diagnosis for your child in that case.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of other things, just an estimate of your budget and things like reference letters from people in your life, educators and things that would be involved in your child's life. So that's our special needs program. And when applications come in, they get reviewed, and our team here follows up directly with families to make sure that everything that we would need as an organization to be able to make a decision to approve, hopefully, that application. And so there's a process there that just sort of gets worked back and forth, right, to just make sure that everything's in order. And then it goes to a committee, and the committee meets on a regular basis and sort of uses the same approach to looking at every application in terms of deciding whether it fits who we are. And really the big thing is that we only fund what we would describe as proven solutions through the program. So just, whether it's, say, a form of therapy, it's something that children like your child have benefited from. And there's some documented research on whether it's effective or not. So that's our special needs program. Our dental outreach program, which is helping kids in primary school at this point in the Winnipeg School Division here in the city. So kids in that program would benefit from the program simply by going to one of the 17 or 18 participating schools, and they'll know right away because their school will be sending stuff home with them. And really, it's just asking for permission. And so what we do there is we do some preventative education, so teaching kids how to care for their teeth and about healthy eating habits. And while those educators are out in the school, they're also doing a screening of the child's mouth to sort of see if there's any cavities or any other dental work that might be required. So that program to families is, again, completely free. And it really is focused, again, on the economically disadvantaged families. So if a family, for example, maybe had some health insurance, well, that gets applied before Variety comes in to help. But if they have no dental insurance whatsoever, then again, we're pleased to pick up the cost. So once the assessments and screenings are done, then kids are shipped on buses every week to the Health Sciences Center, where one of our partners, the other partner, the University of Manitoba Dental College, they do the work. And then last but not least, we have our camp out at Brereton Lake, so Varieties Camp Brereton. So again, how kids can benefit from that during the summer months is different. We host groups out there, so the children that we help would belong either because of their disability or, again, just because of that economic disadvantage piece to other organizations who are really the groups that we serve. So we've, had EarCom come out as an example and have kids, or Rossbrook House or Marymount, or, on the health side of things, a group called Camp Quality, which is kids that are fighting cancer, or Circle of Heart's Family Support Network, which are kids with congenital heart issues. And so, every year we sort of like to fill the place up with a really diverse, group of campers that are all, during that time that they're there, dealing with the same challenges in life. And so, as much as we're huge proponents of inclusion and diversity and accessibility when it comes to being out at camp, it's really good if a group that are all sort of dealing with the same challenges are all out there and participating in the same types of activities, because it teaches kids that they're not alone. And in terms of like ability to learn how to do things like kayaking or canoeing or all the other fun stuff that we do out there, everybody's more or less at the same sort of starting point.
This is Variety's Camp Brereton, a one-of-a-kind destination. Set in the pristine Whiteshell Provincial Park, Variety's Camp Brereton is an all-access camp for the children of Manitoba. Because when kids go to camp, great things happen. Like making new friends and sharing in new experiences. Camp helps kids build their skills by engaging in peer-to-peer activities that support development, understanding, and confidence. All in a positive, nurturing environment. But best of all, a trip to Variety's Camp Brereton means kids,
I love Camp Brereton,
get to be kids. This year, more than 900 campers will get to go to camp. And we couldn't do that without you. When you donate to Variety, you're supporting valuable, life-changing experiences like Variety's Camp Brereton. For 40 years, Variety, the children's charity of Manitoba, has been front and center, helping children of all abilities reach their potential.
So, Jeff, as you know, it's like very complicated to deal with the kids every day. And your organization have a long history dealing with the kids and their challenges in the past. Maybe today it's different, especially they passed the corona pandemic, they passed a lot of things. Today the technology is different. So today in Winnipeg, if we need to say the most challenging face our kids today, how it looks like, if we can say something mentally or physically, what they are suffer our kids today from your point of view.
Yeah, I think from our point of view as an organization, it's just really that, a family finds out that their child, has a permanent disability that they're living with, and then they need to try and find a bit of a support network, and so we can help families connect with other families, but they are also struggling sort of emotionally with that news, and also they find out rather quickly that all the things that they need for their child costs a lot of money. So, every family that approaches us that has a child that's living with a permanent disability, we believe has an economic disadvantage, compared to their neighbors. And so it's those things, plus how complicated, interacting with both our provincial health departments and the school divisions, because each of those areas are supposed to, provide certain supports for family, and it's not easy for families to navigate that. And so, we really a lot of times are sort of what I would describe as the last line of defense with families. And often when families come to us, they're sort of emotionally beat up, they're financially beat up, and they've had a lot of no's put in front of them and a lot of levels of support that aren't going to be in some of those publicly funded supports that they can access, that aren't going to actually help their child progress. And so really, that's a big part of our focus, is alleviating families' stress, helping them navigate the system. And then, if we're able to help them out, which we always hope that we are, being able to provide those levels of support, let's say something like speech and language pathology, that actually are going to, allow their child to progress, and for them as a family to see hope.
Caleb is 7 years old. He has cerebral palsy. Caleb is nonverbal, non-mobile, so he struggles greatly to communicate. He's this beautiful mind trapped in a body that just won't work for him. I was introduced to Variety Children's Charity through one of Caleb's therapies, and we applied to them for funding to help us get a new seating system for Caleb. It's a hardship financially for families with special needs children because a lot of stuff is not government funded, so we actually have to seek other ways to find what our children need. This is not an easy life. It's not an easy road to travel. When we found Variety Children's Charity, they helped us immensely. It means a lot.
So Winnipeg every year welcome a lot of newcomers. So it's a diverse city, as you know. And the newcomers, they came with their kids. So how they can reach Variety and their services, how they can reach it and in their own language. There is some ways or programs or organization they know Variety and give them that access to get this support for the newcomer specifically.
Yeah, so newcomers are one of the fastest growing areas for us in terms of their children and the sort of number of kids that we're serving, most definitely. And so, my suggestion or recommendation would just be, if a family arrives in Canada and they're new and they're struggling with, sort of adapting to the city, and possibly English isn't their first language, right? And so they're going to have those supports in place as newcomers. And so my strong suggestion would be to reach out to those folks, because again, they know us, and that's how our philosophy is really simple. We help a family, we ask that family to allow us to share their story, and then that story inspires other families to come forward and also makes our donors feel really good about what they're supporting. So a huge part of how we get kids is through what we call referral partners. And those referral partners, it's very diverse, right? It's healthcare providers, it is educators, it is service providers for some of those areas that I mentioned before, right? And so, again, an organization like EarCom, for example, they know us very well, right? And so that would be my suggestion. Reach out to the resources that they have in place and describe, some of the needs that they have, and if variety is a fit, because again, they're a family that either, isn't able to provide the things that they need to for their child, either just because of the financial piece of it, or because their child has a disability that they're living with. EarCom will then direct them to us, and more often than not, again, when English isn't the first language of families that we're helping, right, they sort of work back and forth between us, and they help the family fill out, the application form, let's say, for our special needs program.
So Variety, it's a charity organization. So when the people support this organization financially, it's only by the donation, or there is like a partner with Variety give support to you, so to make that organization run smoothly? How your organization get the support from the community?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm proud to say, I can't always say this will be the case, but I'm proud to say that we're an organization that is 100% funded by our community. So we do not get any operating grants from any level of government, the civic government or the provincial government or the federal government. We're not an agency of the United Way, so we don't have some sort of a base grant there that supports us. So really, every day we need to fundraise and raise money to do the work that we do. And so far, I we've been very fortunate, right? The community has been very generous in supporting us. And so my suggestion is, there's always, if someone wants to help out, there's a number of ways that they can help out. The best thing to do is to just maybe give us a call in the office as a starting point, if it's not just simply wanting to make a donation, right? Because we have again, cultural groups and service clubs that do some fundraising for us. We have businesses in the community that raise money through their stores. And then, of course, we do apply for things like grants from foundations, and we have corporate supporters and individual supporters, right? And so if someone wants to get involved and learn a little bit more about how they can help us out, I mean, they can go to our website, which is, again, varietymanitoba.com, or they can just call our office, which is 204-982-1050.
Misha was a premature baby. She was delivered 25 weeks. She has peripheral vision and central vision loss and a little bit of cataract, so she is having problems reading. Misha reads her books an inch or two away because the letters for her, it feels like it's so small. She might be delayed in studying because of how she can see a book, read a book, copy notes. We heard Variety was going to be able to help us in terms of those challenges that she's having. With the iPad, it doesn't stop her now to reach her potential. Variety has been really helpful. Variety can change kids' lives.
So the community support your organization like 100%. So they find something make their society better and more stable. And so what they get from Variety to make our society is better. So what they find special and unique here, so they deserve that support. These people, they deserve it, and we need to support them. We need that job still keep going, because that's how we make our society better. So what they find in the real.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say to you this. I'd like to say that, like, we are huge advocates for the kids that we're here to serve. So, the better job that we do, promoting, the needs of our kids and really showcasing that to the community that supports us, the better. And I mean, our donors, some of them, I mean, they want to remain anonymous. They're just good-hearted community people that understand the kids that we're helping, and their needs, and it makes them feel good, to make a difference, right? And so, that's probably it, right? Is it really is you can use your heart, and your heart will always feel better by trying to do something positive and make a difference in our community. From the perspective of sort of using your head versus your heart, right? We're a great solution, because the better job that we do equipping the kids that are facing challenges today, right, the less reliant on government services, right? Those kids are going to be as they grow up, and they're going to be contributing members to our society. And so to us, again, we're a very sort of heartwarming cause, right? We're helping kids, and yeah, I mean, it makes us feel good, and it makes the community around us feel good.
Mm-hmm. So when you are dealing every day with the kids, so I will ask you about your team, how you can give them that tip or advice to deal with the kids. They are very sensitive. So what is the qualification for someone working for Variety to deal with the kids? What the standards?
Yeah, so at the very heart of each and every one of us, and it doesn't matter what role you have on our team, you need to be someone that absolutely has a heart for children and wants to see them succeed in life. And so that quality is something that when you look around at other companies and what they stand for, whether they're charity or not, is hard to find, right? And it allows us as a team to always work together. So that's number one, have a heart for kids. The other is this idea of compassion, right? Compassion for our families that we help and our children, right? And that's critical. Inclusion, right? So again, we're striving to make the world a more inclusive place for everybody. And then last but not least is sort of that idea of embracing diversity, right? Because really, again, we're living in a time where I certainly hope that everybody realizes that all of our differences are actually our strengths, right? And so when you think about just solving, a problem, and if one person's trying to solve that problem, they're looking at it from a particular perspective, right? Well, and if two people are doing that, then how we're looking at that grows, and what we're able to do in terms of where we're trying to get to in terms of providing that solution or coming up with that solution always gets better, right? And so we really are, again, an organization that embraces those qualities at the core of who we are as people, right? And the types of staff that we attract, the types of volunteers that we attract, it's the same standards that's in place for all of us.
Mm-hmm. So beside the children, there's like a parent sometimes suffering from some challenging with their kids, but some parents, unfortunately, they hesitate to reach out with like organization to get that support to their kids. They said, no, we are normal, we used to with that challenge. So what will be like the message to the parents if they are watching you today and they face some challenging with their kids, especially the special need, to take that step and reach out and help their kids? Like, don't wait until that problem gets bigger. So what will be like your message to the parents?
Yeah, so I would say to you, first and foremost, at the heart of that is pride, right? In people, everybody has pride, right? And so it's tough for some families to have that idea of accepting help from a charity, right? And so what I would say is that's why we're here. We're here to help, families like yours. We're here to help children like your child, and ultimately, we're there to not only provide you with sort of some emotional support, right, and help you navigate that system, but we're also there to help families deal with that sort of financial burden and relieving that financial burden. So we can help your child in most cases do much better than they would be able to if they were just relying on your resources as a family, and it allows, again, our families to be able to focus on other things, right? And so once those stresses are gone, right, the family unit itself becomes healthier, right? Once people unburden themselves of the responsibility of being the only people that can provide that for their child, or that maybe that their child, isn't any different, doesn't have any challenges in front of them that other kids, don't deal with, right? And so, relieving yourself of the burden of that is healthy, right? And we're an organization that's here to help support you during those times and to help, your child get the most out of their life.
Mm-hmm. There is like another challenge some families face, like the confidential information about their kids. They feel like worried about going to one organization, like where's my kids' information will share with whom. I don't need someone to know, like we have something like that, like a special needs, especially it's very sensitive for some families. So how we can like defend this ideas when they have something like that?
Yeah, so we deal with children from all sort of walks of life, right, including children that are in the custody and group homes and whatnot settings within the province, because they had to be removed from the home that they were in, right? So we're very used to dealing with those sort of confidential cases. And again, it comes out of the conversations that we have with families. Many families, once they experience sort of the benefit of working with us, are super excited and happy to share the story of how we've helped them with others, right? Some other families are not, right? And so we deal with things as if they are confidential, right? Unless we're told otherwise.
Nasser, my son, he have autism. I try to help him, but it's very hard.
Nasser, he can't sit, he can't understand, he can't talk. When my friend told me about the variety, I am very excited. I'm very happy because I want to help my son.
Variety help Nasser to get speech therapist.
I see a lot change for Nasser at home now, and I see Nasser, come, I want you. He came, he said, yes, mama. This before didn't happen.
It's a big change now. I am very thankful for that.
Variety not help just Nasser, but help whole my family.
So when the kids get in the programs or camping, they are under your organization vision, and all the expert people, they know how to deal with that kids. So there is like any programs offered for the parents how to deal with that kids after they finish that camp or this program, to know how to deal with that kids at home. There is something like educational to the parents as well.
Yeah. So again, we're not the experts on that, right? The people that we work with, right? So in other words, if I'll use that example of the speech delays and a speech pathologist, right? The speech pathologist is the expert on that. We're not. We're simply the organization that's able to connect families to those experts and like I said before, sort of relieve that financial burden by taking care of the costs. So absolutely, all of our service providers are not just working with your child, right? They're working with the family as a whole. And so, a child goes and has a visit, has homework as a result of that, things that they need to work on, right? Regardless of whether it's speech or whether it's behavioral issues, or physical issues around sort of that mobility or physical health piece of it, right? And those service providers that we work with are the ones that are going to be working with families. And we have relationships where we've got many clients using the same service provider, and that's really where we excel. So we sort of set standards, right? And then the service providers all need to meet or exceed those standards in terms of what they're doing with our kids. And we evaluate that all on an annual basis too, because we take the responsibility of the money that our donors give us very, very seriously. So we want to make sure that when we're, setting kids up with service providers, that we're getting them the best help that they can.
So if I ask you if there is like a special story about like if kids, I saw like many stories in the YouTube channel. Like the people who's watching you now, they like to like hear for like an example for like a success, just to inspire them, to make them see that like there is something we gain one day with that family. So what will be like your special story about whom?
Well, so here's a great one for you, actually. A girl who, this is a couple of years back, who was a newcomer. She was a refugee. She had to deal with trauma because where she was coming from, there was conflict in the country, and she was separated from her family, and really had become. She had several challenges. English wasn't her first language, but more than anything, she wasn't dealing with or coping with the trauma that she was had put in front of her, and she was separated from her family. And so, and lastly, she loved to draw, and drawing was sort of therapeutics. So just simply from us giving her an iPad with one of those Apple pens, right? So many things changed in this young girl's life, right? She was able to communicate with her family back home, right? She was actually able to use the device to help her learn English, right? And she was able to express herself through the art, right? And so just even something simple like that, right? It made a huge and profound difference in her life, right? And there's a million stories that all look different in terms of how we're helping kids, but there's just a really simple story where we made a huge difference in her life.
Yeah. So we reached the end of our episode. So the final message from you to who's watching you today, maybe you can say something like I forget to ask you about. So what will be your final message and wrap up in the end of our episode?
Well, just a reminder, right? Our purpose is to help kids, right? And so if you're a family that has a child that you think might benefit from Variety's, programs and services, I would just encourage you to, go to our website or give us a call and reach out, right? I mean, we're all very, very compassionate and heartwarming people. And we take what we do serious in terms of trying to make life for families and their kids easier, right? And that allows families to sort of have less stress and be able to operate more cohesively as a family. And it's healthier for everybody, right? And so healthier families, right, in terms of the folks in the family, the parents or the siblings that are there providing that extra level of care for their brother or their sister or their child, right? We're there to help sort of everybody be healthy. And the healthier the family unit is as a whole, the more supportive they are able to be for their child, and the more they advocate for their child's needs, and the more rich the experiences as a family are together, right? The more memories that family is able to share together. So please do reach out. We'd love to hear from each and every one of you.
Jeff Liba, Chief Executive Officer at Variety, the children's charity of Manitoba. Thank you very much to being with us today.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
You as well. As you see in this episode, we discussed all the challenges and the ways how we can pass it. So through these programs, I believe we can help our kids to be healthier and happier in Winnipeg. So if you find this organization helpful, reach out for them and ask them for help. If you like this episode, like, share, and subscribe, and wait us for a new episode from Civic Platform.